Good heavens, Daniel, would you look at the time? Good heavens, Daniel, would you look at the time?
Would you check the hour?
Would you believe the hour?
Has the sun doth set?
My God, Daniel, is that the time? Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Concerning Gaming. I'm Cade.
I'm Dan.
And today we're talking about Seven Wonders Duel, a strategy tableau builder by Antoine Bauza and Bruno Cathala.
Yeah, this is a civilization building game. I'm going to run through how this game plays, and we're going to come back up here, and Cade and I are going to tell you a bit about it.
Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
All right, here I've gone ahead and set up the game for both players. At the beginning of the game, you're going to draft different wonder cards that you'll be able to build throughout the game. You'll also be able to draft these cards from the center pile. At the top here, we have our military track, which tracks how much strength each person has. And then also above that are progress tokens that we've laid out that you can acquire throughout the game. At the beginning of the game, we're going to set up for age 1, like you see down here. Then when we get to age 2, it's going to be a different shape, and then age 3 is going to be a different shape as well. Players will take turns, one after the other, going back and forth, drafting cards, discarding cards, and using them to build wonders until the final cards are gone. So let's just say, as an example, on the first turn, the person on the left wants to draft this card. At the top, it's going to show you what you get for that card, and at the top left, it will show you what you have to pay. For this one, you do not have to pay anything, so he decides to grab this card and place it in his tableau in front of him. Then the player on the right would go, and they want to buy this card. But at the top left, you can see that it costs 1 gold. So in order to obtain this card, they would draft it from this deck, place it in front of them, and then pay 1 gold in order to get it. Now, because they revealed this next card, you would flip it over to see what it is. Turns will continue back and forth until all of the cards are gone. Now let's just go over what some of these cards can mean. These brown cards here are raw materials, and these buildings produce resources such as brick, wood, or stone. The gray cards here are manufactured goods, and they produce paper and glass. The civilian cards here are worth victory points. These scientific buildings can be worth victory points, but they also give you a science symbol. If you obtain 6 unique science symbols, you immediately win the game. If you duplicate or get a pair of any science symbol, you get to draft from a progress token. The progress tokens are randomly assigned at the beginning of the game. Some of them will get you points, like this one. Others will get you special powers. And others provide, for example, a new symbol that you can add to your collection. The commercial buildings are worth coins, they can produce resources, and they change some of the trading rules in the game. So for example, if someone wanted to draft something and it cost brick, they would normally have to pay 2 gold plus a gold for every brick that their opponent produces. However, if they have this card, if you look at the top, it says that brick only costs 1 gold for them moving forward. You also have military cards, and at this one you can see that it costs 1 brick and provides 1 military strength. Whenever you draft one of these cards into your hand, let's say the left player does it, then you would move this token 1 closer to your opponent's space. Depending on where you are at the end of the game, it will give you points, and then every time you cross this threshold, your opponent would then lose the amount of gold on this token here. Okay, so now what I've done is gone ahead and set up age 2 after this game has gone through all of age 1. Whenever you start a new age, the person with the lowest military will be the one to decide who goes first. Now we can talk about a few other things that we can see. One thing that I didn't mention at the beginning is when you draft some of these cards, they'll have some symbols at the top right. In future ages, some other cards with this symbol might show up. So for example, if I have this card, at the top right it has this mask symbol. And if we look over here at the top left, there's this card that I can buy, which also has a mask symbol, which is in the cost portion of the card. Because I already own this card, instead of paying the 2 bricks that you see at the top left, I can get this card for free. Other things you'll notice in age 2, and especially in age 3, the cost of the goods increases for the cards that you get, and the power of the cards also goes up. So for example, this one now allows me to buy both paper and glass for 1 coin. This allows me to get 2 stone instead of 1, and military cards will often go up to 2 strength or even 3 strength as you keep going. There are also 2 other things that you can do on your turn besides just drafting cards. One of them is discarding a card, in which case when you discard a card, you're no longer putting it in front of you, but you're getting 2 gold plus 1 gold for every yellow card that you have. So for example, because of that, this person would get 5 gold. Finally, as you get farther and farther into the game, you see that you have these wonders that you can build. On the left-hand side, it shows the cost, so you may need to have some resources before you can build this. As you can see here, this person needs 2 paper, a brick, a wood, and a stone. Well, right now he has 1 paper, he has a brick, he has a stone, and he has a wood that he can trade for 1 gold, as you can see here. So in order for him to build this card, he needs to pay for another paper, and he needs to pay for that wood. So a paper would cost 2 gold, plus 1 for every paper that your opponent has. Because the opponent doesn't have any, this only costs 2 gold, and his wood costs 1. So on his turn, what he can do is actually pick a card from the area, and he can place it next to his wonder to build it. Then he has to pay for the resources that he doesn't have, and then he immediately gets the resources on the right-hand side. He gets 3 points, he gets 1 military, and he also is able to destroy a brown card from his opponent. Finally, you'll be going back and forth until the end of Age 3, in which case you'll compare your tableaus and compare where you are with your points, and add them up to see who wins. During this time, there's also alternative ways to win. If by any chance one person gets their military token all the way to the other side, they immediately win. And if they get 6 different symbols for their science cards, they also immediately win. One thing to note about wonders. At the beginning of the game, each person gets 4 wonders, but only 7 wonders can be played in the game, which means that as soon as someone builds a 4th wonder, one of them cannot be built by the other player. Finally, once you're done with the game, you're going to add up the points that you see in the score sheet that is provided in the box. You add up your points for your blue, green, yellow, and purple cards, any points that your wonders provide, any points that your science progress tokens provide, any gold that you may have. Every 3 gold is worth 1. And then you also look at your military to see where you are in the military track and add up those points. Whoever has the most amount of points wins. And that's how you play 7 Wonders Duel.
I don't know what we put in the edit, if you watched us play the entire game or you just watched me talk about it for a few minutes. But here we are. We're back.
Right.
The game that we recorded, I whooped Cade's butt
No, it didn't.
with the blue cards.
Fake news. I built the greatest military the world's ever seen. Dan, I think the most important thing to start off with, let the people know, this is a 2-player only game.
Yes.
Did you like the 2-person experience?
I like it better than the not 2-person experience, I'll tell you that much. Because
Well, there's not much to the game, right? It's a more streamlined version of the game. You've got a few components that you covered in the how to play.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of wonders that you can build for each player. But other than that, there's not too much going on in the game.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I mean, and the components do their job. Because they're tiny cards. I don't like the tiny cards, but I kind of feel like you have to fit it in this tiny little thing right here. You know, the art's fine. It does what it needs to do. It's nothing spectacular. No one's going to praise this thing for the art. The cards look fine, too. It all comes really nicely packaged.
Yes.
But I don't think that's what the crux of this... That's not why people like this game. Why do you think people like this game?
I think people like this game because the theme is similar to the game we played recently, Through the Ages. You know, it's a civilization builder. You're trying to take your civilization from age 1 all the way through to age 3 and be the most successful civilization in the world. And you've got a game that you can finish in about 45 minutes. And I think that is something that can be exciting for people because they're going to just want to play again and again and again.
Yeah, no, yeah. The replayability, like wanting to do just one more, especially when you lose by military or lose by science and you didn't see it coming, you're like, run that back. Run that back. I want to play it one more time, and I swear you're not going to beat me in this one again.
Yeah, we've only had that happen a few times. It's very, very frustrating.
It's rare.
The receiving end of that.
It's rare, but it's there.
It is, you know, because there are the 3 ways to win the game are having the most points at the end of age 3. But if someone can scoop that military victory, or if you can scoop that scientific victory, you know, and snatch victory from the claws of defeat, if you're in a bad spot, can be a really fun gaming experience.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the open marketplace where you've got some cards that are visible up front and then the others that are concealed. And when you take that card that allows 2 more to flip over, and all of a sudden there's that 3-power military card that can cause you to lose the game, man.
I don't think we're friends anymore after
Just
that
run it back.
experience.
You just want to run it back immediately because it doesn't feel like you were given a fair shake. But
Yeah.
hey, that's the game.
I needed some retribution after that game, Cade, because that was humiliating. But That doesn't always happen. You said it only happens in a small fraction of our games. However, I do like that it's not all moot. You know, if you only tried to go for military and you don't get it, it's not like you've wasted a lot, because when I do military, it gets rid of your gold and it gets me points at the end of the game. And if I try to go for the science, you've got the added benefit of some of the science just gives you points. Mm-hmm. And then if you double up on science, you get those progress tokens, which have been really strong, especially for the military victory. That one that gives you an extra bonus to the military card sneaks up on you really quickly.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And I love that combination of being able to double up on the science cards, like you mentioned, because it really makes you take a look at the progress tokens and decide if there's one that makes it worth going for. You know?
Yes.
I personally was fond of just the pure points, 7 points on the progress.
Yeah, you can't mess that up.
Progress token, that felt good. You know, if you're getting 70 points at the end of the game, that's 10% of your points you can scoop up right there by just playing one card. So I like the idea that you can accumulate the science cards and make it as a threat, like you said, to your opponent. Same thing with the military. It's a threat that your opponent has to
they have to react to
at all times. Yes, they have to react to. But it maybe isn't something that you're guaranteed that victory condition if you go down. We touched on it a little bit, a couple of the interesting, unique game mechanics of Seven Wonders Duel. First, it's the open and closed marketplace of cards.
I love it.
I love it too.
Every single time you go to take an action, you're always aware of what you may be flipping over.
Yes.
And so you always have to make that decision of like, do I risk it? Do I take this really good card in the chance that it might give you an even better one? Or do I take the mediocre card and see what you do? And maybe you flip over something juicy for me. And so even though, like we said in the overview, you only have 3 things that you could do in your action, all of them involve removing a card from the table.
Right.
So every single turn, something is being removed, and whenever you remove it, you might flip something over. And that flipping over that you do might give Cade some additional military that allows him to win, and you flip the table. Just flip it. Or flip off Cade.
Indeed.
For winning again.
Indeed.
It seems to happen all the time, Cade. You end up winning more and more after you get an understanding of the game.
I've got a slow or a steep learning curve, I guess you would say, because I was getting walloped by you in the beginning stages. I didn't even realize the second unique mechanic that you took advantage of early that I've really started to love, which is the idea of you pick wonders at the beginning of the game that allow you to go again.
Yes.
So you take that card, you have to draft the card out of the marketplace, tuck it under your wonder, but you get to go again. And that way you can be aware of those 2 cards you just revealed, and maybe you can take one yourself. So you can just feel a little bit safer. Or maybe there's 2 cards you want to play back to back. They're both so good you don't want your opponent to get them. Having that ability to have at least one wonder in your arsenal that's going to allow you to take a second turn starts to feel mandatory. And you picked up on that real quick after our first game and really used it to your advantage. And once I could figure that out, I was back on even.
I shouldn't have told you. I should have been like, yeah, these symbols don't even mean what you think they mean. I'm just taking extra turns because I can.
And that's fun. I think one time I managed to do like 4 turns in a row by just after one.
Yeah, you could just combo them. You could combo them if you really want to.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, the flow of the game is like a you, me. And so because of that open and closed marketplace that you have, you can math out who's going to get the card maybe 3 away.
Yeah.
And so having these in there mitigates that problem of your opponent mathing out if they're going to get the one that they really want. Because you could play it, reverse Uno card that guy, and now you're getting 2, and now he's got the opposite one that you thought he was going to get. So it shakes up the structure of the rest of the game, and you can only do it a few times. You know, You've only got 4 wonders, maybe only 2 or 3 of them have that ability on it. So you're really not doing it the entire time. It's only at very pivotal moments in the game.
No, it's your ace in the hole. You want to kind of save it for the right moment. But both of those unique mechanics that we talked about, I think really impact the player interaction of this game. I think it is a duel, so it is a 1v1, so you're going to have that inherently, I think, within the game. But I think it exceeds that of like terraforming Mars and an Earth, and the fact that I'm always trying to pay attention to what the opponent has.
Yeah.
Because if I know what card you're going for, I'm going to make sure I don't reveal that for you down the road, or maybe I steal it from you and play it myself, or just discard it for the extra gold coins, because sometimes that can even be a powerful play.
Yeah.
And
especially with the yellow cards too.
I'm always not only paying attention to my tableau, but I'm paying attention to yours as well. And I think that makes it a full game experience. Would you agree?
I think you need it too. Yeah. How dull would that be if you had a 2-player only game and you didn't even interact with the other player?
Didn't even talk to him.
Yeah. Like Battleship. Well, Battleship, you do that. You interact a bit. But yeah, I think the interaction's great in this one. This is one of the only games, and because you're only playing with one other person, it's easy to see what the other person's doing. The iconography and the way that you set up your board, how you stack all your blues and all your reds and stuff like, makes it very visually easy for me to see what you have going on and how I can combat that. There's not a turn that I take where I don't see what you need first.
Yes.
I don't think there's ever a turn where I'm like, all right, I'm just going to grab this, because every single time you may be flipping over another card or you may be leaving something open to what your opponent needs. And the game does a good job at showing you that at a glance.
One thing I thought was going to be a difficulty playing over the board and with each other in person was calculating how much money and I needed to spend to purchase the cards. Like, I thought that was going to be more of a difficult experience, but it was really quite smooth, quite easy, because like you said, it's all laid out by color in your tableau. You can see exactly what you have and what your opponent has.
I think
it was quick.
I think you having an engineering degree helps in that sense too, Cade.
To do math.
Yeah.
Quick maths. That's our strong suit here.
It was all under
Concerning
15.
gaming.
Yeah. Tutor sessions on Wednesdays.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go into calculus, analytics, thermodynamics, heat transfer,
What else, Cade?
algebra 1,
Business development,
economics.
historical figures. Kids, you should drop out.
Yeah, don't go to college. Bill Gates didn't go to college.
So, Cade,
Daniel.
the scoring in this game.
Yes.
Did you think that the scoring was going to be difficult? Because at the end of this one, this is one of those games where throughout the game, you could constantly do the math and see what the other person has, or you could just let it fly by the wayside, get a glance and see how it is, and just let the anticipation build until you start scoring. I thought I was going to have trouble, but I was fine with it. I think it's so short to where it doesn't matter. If I think that you're ahead of me by 20 points, you probably aren't. The games are a lot closer than what I thought they were. And even if you are in front of me by 20 points and I don't feel like I can make a comeback, the game ends pretty quickly. We can just start again.
That goes to the replayability of it.
Yeah.
I thought because it was such a quick game, I enjoyed the fact that I wasn't sitting there counting up my points in real time. I was just taking the best action that I could with what was given to me at the time. And we'll see what happens as it all shakes out, making sure I'm not going to lose military and so on and so forth.
Just do the next right thing. In the words of Anna from Frozen.
Let it go.
I've got a daughter. I've got two. I didn't mean to forget about the other one. The other one's here too. She just doesn't watch Frozen. Time's up, Kate. We got to give our review.
All right. Well, I think I would rate this game pretty highly for me. I had a good time playing it with you. It was an enjoyable experience. It's quick and easy. I'll give you like a 7.5 out of 10.
Really?
Yes,
That's pretty high.
What about you?
Well, why a 7.5? What are the reasons that tipped it above most games that you've played? And I thought you really valued, like, your scale was, it needs to be complex and strategic, and that pushes it up for me. So I'm curious why this one's higher for you.
There is strategy in it, and it's strictly between your interaction with the other player, right? Because it's like a duel. Like, it's like in chess, like you always like to bring up with me. You're playing against one other person, and you're trying to just do better than they are. And the strategy comes in trying to ensure that you're not going to get the best cards, and that I can get the best cards. And trying to plan that out throughout the structure of the ages is enjoyable. I don't think it's that rating will go up with more plays. I think that rating would go down with more plays because it probably doesn't have that strategic depth that I would like it to. But that's okay because we only played it. We played it enough where I'm still having fun with it, and I would want to play this one like once every couple of months. Like I wouldn't want to sit down and play 8 hours of this game. And
I would.
Gonna need a new co-host.
I almost want to give it an 8, but I don't know if I'm just like riding the hype of these several plays that we've done at this point. I really like that it's a tug of war with the other person. From the first age, you've got 6 possible things that you could choose between. I like that they give you so many options at the beginning because I'm like, oh, I don't know which one I want to pick. Which one do I want to pick? And which one is Cade going to pick? And from that point all the way up until the end, I feel like I make a move and I'm like, oh, this was a good move. Then you make a move and I'm like, oh, shoot, that was a good move. And every single time it's like whoever's turn it is that just made a move, I feel like they're tugging a little bit more towards their side. I like that in this one from beginning to end. It's tension from the very beginning all the way to the end. I like how it all ramps up pretty quickly. I like how quick the game plays. I like that in most other games, every card can do multiple things. I could play the card, I could discard the card, or I could use it to build a wonder. Like, that's all really unique. And so I could prevent you from doing something, or I can use it for my benefit. I'll give it an 8.
That's it for us today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.
Or don't. You said I was going to poop. You said I'd just poop my pants.
Well. If you like this video, maybe you'd like our review of Res Arcana. Click here. Click it. Did you click it yet? You still listening to me say this? Click the video. Click it. Click it!